Hello, dear modern thinkers. Let's talk about coffee. It's more than just a beverage. It's a global industry, a morning ritual, and for many like yours, truly a necessity. But as we become more mindful of our choices, it's time to look beyond the cup and understand the journey of our daily brew. Let's spill the beans. Coffee prices have been on a roller coaster. You might have noticed your local cafe adjusting their prices, or your favorite roast costing a bit more at the grocery store. This is happening globally. Why? Well, it's a complex brew. Global warming is affecting coffee growing regions, making good harvests harder to come by. Our hardworking local roasters and baristas are feeling the squeeze, trying to balance quality with affordability. But here's where it gets interesting. As conscious consumers, we're not just looking at the price tag anymore, are we? We're wondering about the journey of those beans, the lives of the farmers who grew them, and the environmental footprint of our morning pick me up. And we want healthier, better products. I'm super excited to share a coffee groundbreaking innovation, but first we'll explore the status quo. If you can't wait, just scroll down to the modern take section. So, let's put our plastic snorkeling goggles back on and dive straight into the journey. The status quo of coffee beans from seed to cup. It's a resource intensive journey before reaching your hands. Let's break it down. Step 1. Cultivation. Coffee plants require specific conditions, elevations between 900 1800 meters or 3000 6000 feet, temperatures around 1521 to the power of 0 C or 6070 to the power of 0 F, and adequate rainfall. It takes 3-4 years for a new coffee plant to bear fruit. Step 2. Harvesting. Most high quality coffee is still picked by hand, which is a labor intensive process that occurs once or twice a year. Step 3. Processing. The coffee cherry is processed to extract the bean inside, either by sun drying natural process or by washing wet process. Both methods require significant amounts of water. Step 4. Drying and milling. Beans are dried to about 11% moisture content and then milled to remove the last layers of dry skin. Step 5. Exporting and importing. Green coffee beans are packed and shipped globally, often traveling thousands of kilometers. I wish I could grow coffee beans at home, but that's not going to happen. Step 6. Roasting. Typically done closer to the point of sale. Roasting develops the bean's flavor, but has a short shelf life. Inside the newsletter edition, you will find a video that explains the whole roasting process. It's fascinating, so do check it out. Now, let's get to the big question. Is the status quo sustainable? We need to talk about whether or not the status quo of coffee beans is sustainable. This traditional process faces several sustainability challenges from an environmental and financial point of view. Considering global warming, rising temperatures, and changing rainfall patterns threaten traditional growing regions. A study suggests that by 2050, the area suitable for coffee production could decrease by up to 50%. Next is deforestation. Coffee farming has led to significant forest loss. In Ethiopia alone, 60,000 hectares or 148,000 acres of forest are lost annually, partly due to coffee cultivation. And finally, water usage. Coffee processing is water intensive. It takes about 140 liters of water to produce 1 cup of coffee. Cafes are feeling the squeeze from multiple angles, which will only intensify in the years to come. For economic challenges, check out our deep dive in the article. This status quo presents a clear challenge. How can we continue to enjoy our daily coffee while addressing these environmental and economic issues? The answer may lie in rethinking how we produce coffee altogether. What if the coffee plant was no longer necessary? Let's move on to the modern take on coffee beans. I'm so excited to introduce you to a truly disrupting startup based out of Singapore. It was only in 2022 that experimenting with fermentation began in a kitchen. Fast forward to today, the startup raised $2 million and is helping cafes to bring down their cost while simultaneously serving their customers a healthier coffee of their preference. I'm talking about Prefer. Prefer was founded by Jake Berber and Ding Jiet Tan in Singapore. Jake is a neuroscientist and DJ is a flavor scientist as well as a wizard when it comes to precision fermentation, which is the term the brand is named after. I spoke with Jake recently to have a deep dive into their mission and vision, and let's just say, these two are onto something huge. I can smell it. Their website is Prefer Coffee. Speaking of a cool domain name. Meet Jake Left and DJ Right, the co-founders of Prefer, the bean-free coffee company. Prefer is a startup that only started in early 2022. Jake and DJ worked on R&D for 6 months, piloted the product, and then at the end of 2023, they raised $2 million. Since then, they have worked with well over 50 businesses, and now they're focusing on scaling up production, all based out of Singapore. Hockey stick growth, so investors, you should pay attention. I wanted to dive deeper into the company's mission and vision. That's why I recently spoke with Jake Berber, who's the CEO, and this is his personal story. Jake is an American neuroscientist and a tennis player. After his studies, he got recruited to join a biotech startup in Tel Aviv. After a year, he quit as he wanted to focus on climate, so he became a venture capitalist. He focused mostly on solutions related to food. This is where he learned about some of the issues going on with coffee. At the same time, he was getting his MBA from the University of Tel Aviv and did an exchange in Singapore. Long story short, he hasn't left since. In a startup accelerator, Entrepreneur First, he met his co-founder Ding Jie DJ Tan, who is a flavor scientist. Yes, that's a thing. You can tell that these two are onto something big, I'm telling you. This is what I call the power of modern thinking. Envision a better future solving a real problem, and then work tirelessly to make it happen, against all odds. They produce bean-free coffee that, according to Jake, has chocolatey, nutty coffee taste, like a mocha. Sounds delicious if you ask me. In shops, customers can get these ready-to-go oat lattes in various options, that is caffeinated, decaffeinated, and different flavors. I also asked Jake if he has tips for aspiring entrepreneurs in this field. He shared the following tips. The product must be as delicious, the product must be affordable, if not cheaper, the product must have as few ingredients as possible, because it's healthier. Remember the mantra, health is wealth. Closing thoughts. The status quo of coffee beans is unsustainable from an environmental and economic point of view. Due to global warming, coffee beans supply decreases, while demand increases significantly, like a 50-300 ratio. Jake and DJ spotted this problem and put their beautiful brains to work. The result is coffee without the coffee beans that not only is healthier, but most importantly for the end consumer, it's cheaper. So, once again, we can continue life as we know it, just with some non-invasive changes to live a joyful modern lifestyle. Okay, I can hear you thinking out loud. If the bottles are made from plastic, how is this product sustainable? The short answer is, a startup can only start somewhere and not do it all at once, because every innovation comes at a high cost. The long answer is, when plastic bottles are not colored, the label is easily removable, and then the bottles can actually be fully recycled into new ones. It's a longer answer, not in my words, but in terms of complexity. I hope to report back to you on Prefer at some point where they've solved this too. All they need is for us modern thinkers to become modern coffee drinkers. I'm open to it, are you? That's it for this week. Until next time. Stay modern.